Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to be showing you how to parry in Battlefront 2. So I hope you enjoy the video and let's get straight into it. So parrying. What is parrying? Well, parrying is the art of warding off a weapon or attack with a counter move. That's how Webster's dictionary defines it, at least. So in Battlefront 2, it means that you want to counter an attack with a block, and immediately after they hit you, you want to use your basic attack or any attack that can hit them without you being hit. So in Battlefront 2, there's a lot of different types of parryings. So you can parry with abilities. You can do double parries, which you hit them twice in a single parry, or you can do single parries, which are the most common and are the safest type of parry. So I'll be covering single parries first. So a single parry is the easiest of them all, and what you want to do is wait for your opponent to attack, and at the moment they attack, you want to swing right after they hit you. Parrying can only be done with a lightsaber hero, so just remember that. So you want to just hit right after they hit you. And after that, you'll be walking away with all your health and no damage done to you, and there'll be a swing lower than you. So they'll be way lower. Not way lower, but if they spam you, you can easily get them to low HP. So parrying is a great tool against spammers because they're not expecting it. They're just going to be swinging wildly. You can parry all their hits with the single parries, and you'll walk away full health, and they'll just be completely smoked. But if you're fighting higher level opponents, which try to not get parried as much, so they hit, they dash, they just try to get away from you after they hit, what you want to do is kind of lure them into a false sense of security. That's at least what I like to do. Let them get away with a couple hits where you don't parry, and then when they start to slack and they'll hit you, you can just do a double parry, which is basically you parry and you hit them twice. So you just swing twice right after you parry. Don't try to swing 3 times because that doesn't exist in Battlefront 2 and you'll get hit no matter what. But Battlefront 2 double parries are a bit more dangerous because you have a chance of getting hit on the second parry. And if you're at low health, I wouldn't suggest doing a double parry because you might just die. So mostly I'd suggest doing single parries if you're not very skilled at the game. So just practice waiting for your opponent to hit and then hitting right after, and you'll get the single parries down. Double parries may take a bit more practice, but just keep practicing. So the second types of parries that I wanted to tell you about are the ability parries. So I'll be covering, in this section at least, abilities that can parry other abilities or abilities that can parry normal swings. So the 2 best abilities for parrying, in my opinion, are Ray's Dash and Maul's Spin Attack. I think this because the Spin Attack is great at countering all sorts of attacks, unless you're fighting a Luke or an Anakin, because they can counter that with their ability. They can counter that with the Heroic Might and I forgot the one that Luke has, but they can counter it with those 2 middle abilities. So you don't want to do it on Anakin's or Luke's if you know they have their abilities. Don't do it. But if they waste their abilities, then it's just as good as the other ones. But it's a good way to parry because they'll do it. They're gonna expect you to do a normal parry or just not to parry at all. But then you can dash attack or spin attack to the opposite side of them, so they'll also turn around. And if you catch them off guard, you can even choke them or get off like 3 or 4 hits on them from behind. So the next thing I wanted to cover was parrying abilities, or like just countering abilities in general. So one thing you can really counter with is all of Anakin's abilities and all of Luke's abilities, because Luke's middle ability and Anakin's middle ability are great at parrying any dash ability or any any knockdown ability, because they can't be knocked down while they're in the animation. And if an opponent tries to spin attack behind you, you can easily use the Heroic Might or the Repulse, which I'm pretty sure the Repulse, to push them away from you, and to do an easy damage, which you can then use for Anakin at least, to do a max punish, which you basically hit them with their Heroic Might, and then while they're on the ground, you hit them with I forgot what it's called, but your grab ability, the one that pulls them towards you, and then you hit them twice. That's pretty much it. Don't try to hit them 3 times, because they'll probably be able to parry you on the 3rd, and you don't want that to happen. You want to conserve as much health as you want in those fights, because you'll probably have another opponent. But if this is the last opponent and Hero Showdown, just go for it, because it's really, you don't have any other opponents to worry about, so just go for it. And another ability that can parry it can counter other abilities pretty well is Yoda's presence ability, the one that gives him extra health. Some people might know this, even though it's a pretty well-known trick or exploit. I'm not really sure if DICE meant to put this in the game. But if you get choked by any choke, and I think Kylo's freeze, but I'm not sure, you can use the presence ability, and it'll cancel out the choke or anything. It works on all the chokes, I'm pretty sure, including Maul's choke, and it works on the freeze, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if it works on the freeze, but I'm pretty sure it does. So, that's a basically free card to get out of any chokes and stuff like that. And it's really good, because if you get choked by Vader, you're pretty much dead. So this is a free get out of Vader choke card. So it's pretty good. And that's pretty much it for the things that Yoda can parry with. He does have his dash, but his dash can really easily be parried. So I wouldn't recommend it to parry, because he can get parried with choke. He can get parried with a lot of things. And I'd also recommend holding off using your presence ability until you get choked or freezed, so you can just get out of it and have that extra health. So I'm going to be moving on to some more specific types of parrying that you can do, and some tricks. So the first trick I'm going to be covering is raised dash strikes, because you can parry with those pretty easy. Just do a single parry, but instead of using your attack, just use your dash strike. And another thing you can do that does mega damage is you can do a double parry or a single parry. And after you do a single parry or double parry, you can get away with a dash strike. So you'll do the parry damage plus the dash strike damage, plus they're going to be knocked down, so you can get 2 hits off them. So that's a lot of health. That's pretty much enough to kill, I think, a weak blaster hero. He may escape with a bit of health, but that's an awesome parry you can use. And another thing you can really use with Rey is her insight ability and her mind trick ability. And just continue to use those, and you'll become a beast with Rey. And I'm going to also be covering the mind trick ability with the parrying, because I think it works really well with her dash strike, because you can mind trick, and your opponents usually won't attack if you're mind tricked. So you probably won't get off that much damage. You probably can't do the parry trick if they don't attack, of course. But what you can do is do jump swings, which I'll make a video on later, or hook swings, whatever you want to call them. But I'll make a video on that. And just hit them for free. And at this point, they're going to become aware that you're doing jump swings on them. So they're going to start attacking you, and then boom. You can get the free hits on them with the jump strikes, and you'll get the free damage with the parry that I just told you about with Rey. So that's one of the most OP things you can do with Rey, and that's why Rey is one of my favorites. Just the dash strike combos. And then the last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about was the parries that choke heroes can do, like Maul and Vader. So you can parry with Vader's choke, and you can also parry with Maul's choke, even though I don't think parrying with Maul's choke is a very good idea. because most choke has no damage reduction, and you can easily get like 200, 300, 400 health off if you try to do that. So I'd suggest pairing with Vader's choke, if you have it at least. Because Vader's choke is just broken. They'll try to hit you, and instead of parrying normally, parry with the choke. And then they'll just be choked, and you can, like, right off the start, right off the bat, or even later into the game, you can get, like, 500 damage off them, which is just, Vader is just a beast, man. So remember, you can parry with all the chokes. Don't really try to parry with the freeze and the pull, because the animations are kind of slower for those. And don't try to parry with Yoda's repulse. With Yoda's unleashed, yeah. Don't try to parry with Yoda's unleashed, because half of the time, the ability's animation is so slow that they'll get off like a hit on you until you can repulse them. And if you're fighting a Grievous or like Vader, they can choke you in that time. They can do like a full 200 damage on you. Yeah, and the animation is so slow that even if you push them away, your unleash doesn't even do damage, and you'll still be damaged because of that. And if you're at low health, I really don't recommend doing it, because if you get choked, you're done. If you get hit, you're done. So Yoda's Unleashed is one of the weakest abilities in the HVV and Hero Showdown, so I don't recommend that. But moving on to the final ability I'll cover is the final ability that I'll cover. Is Anakin. No, sorry. Oh yeah, it's Grievous. Grievous has so many good pairing opportunities, but he has so many opportunities that he can get parried hard. So, for this at least, I'd recommend a certain pair of star cards, like the star card that reduces the damage when you do Claw Rush and that sort of stuff. I 100% do not recommend ever using his Thrust Surge if your opponent is holding up block. There's just no point of doing it. It's a suicide for you at least, because they'll get even like a double parry off you, and then if you're fighting an Anakin, that's a lot of health. That's like a lot of health. So just try to stay on your toes, and try only to use that if you see that they have no more stamina, or if they're slacking off and they have your back turned to you. Okay. And then the final thing that I'm going to tell you about is that a lot of people kind of write off Grievous's Unrelenting Advance as a kind of a trash ability, just because your controls are different, and it's really easy to get behind you and just do a ton of damage. But just remember that you can like undo that ability whenever you want. It's not like Maul's ability where you have to like stay there. You can parry with that and easily get like 3 hits of Unrelenting Advance off, because your opponent won't notice. He'll keep swinging at you. You won't take damage, and when he does notice, you already have done a lot of damage to him. And if you're just swinging wildly, which I don't recommend with Grievous, because his stamina is really bad. But the moment you run out of stamina with Grievous, just Thrust Surge. Thrust Surge at your opponent. I'm sorry, not Thrust Surge. Claw Rush at your opponent. It's kind of easy to parry if your opponent knows what you're doing. But if you have the 80% reduction on like Claw Rush or something, it won't really matter. So you can knock him down, you get all your stamina back, and it's just a beast. So that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna start making more guides on Battlefront 2 and not as much Fortnite content, because that was a long time ago. But yeah, just stay tuned. I'm gonna be making a heroes ranking video soon, and a how to hook swings video soon. These might be a month late, I think, because I'm gonna be going on vacation soon, so I probably won't be able to upload anything. But there's gonna be more videos on Battlefront 2, and I'm also gonna be making some specific hero guides. So just hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.